What Greece wants is to play the smart game. Let me be in so everyone thinks I'm good, and if something goes wrong, you all are infected and the disease has spread. Jose Ricaurte Jaén, Guardian Trust, FX. Greece has reached a deal to receive the next flow of bailout money, €8.5 billion to be exact, removing the risk of defaulting on its €7 billion debt due next month. Has this bailout removed uncertainty and laid a path for recovery?
Not at all. I mean, I think this is actually, we were discussing this, it's becoming worse than cancer. At least, you remove a cancer, you do your regular checkups, but this is just ridiculous. I mean, one of the things to consider is that the reason why in the long term, and this actually is not really putting a path of recovery, is really something to consider. It's becoming more than a problem. It's becoming a very unique disease that Germany is feeding. It's like you were feeding your own disease, your own cancer. And it's not to offend anyone. It's just to put perspective. One of the deals as you're part of the EU is that you need to allocate funds, resources into R&D, research and development. And one of the reasons why we cannot see any I wouldn't say any future in the next 10 years and spectacular numbers is because we're basically just allocating good resources into Greece. What is going to be the path of recovery? Well, one of the path of recovery will be simply to say no more to Greece as far as money. They have to start being productive and efficient.
What does Greece have to do to keep receiving the bailout money from the EU?
This is funny because you have two things that have been working really well for Greece: pretending and playing the victim role. Those two have been spectacular effective for them. But that thing is coming to an end because, and you have to relay what happened in France. So you have Emmanuel Macron as the new leader of the country, and he's not a guy that wouldn't consider leaving the EU. He's playing along with Merkel, Germany, and that's fine. But if things get really tricky, really bad, you should expect them to go with the whole Frexit idea. And it's because he's going to put his countrymen before keep just acknowledging, like, let's give Greece or someone else money for free, because that's what you're doing. So Greece have been, as I said, playing these two poker cards, if you say, or blackjack cards that have been really welcoming and effective. But that's coming to an end. You cannot really just throw infinite amount of money at something that makes no sense and expect it to actually be productive. So what Greece has to consider is, besides hurting old people, pretty much cutting pensions, you have to avoid that. You have to start designing plans to attract foreign investment.
Is it possible that Greece could default on its debt, and what would be the consequences for the EU?
Short term, I will go with a no. Medium long term, you always have that 50-50. Greece leaders, they have been requesting to be part of what we know as the European Central Bank bond buying program, aka QE, better known as quantitative easing, which is pretty much just throwing good money. Now, the reason, and it's very smart what they want to do, is that they want to make sure they have this sort of perspective that things are getting better, so they want to include their bonds into the program. That will give some security to foreign investors or corporate investors to go pretty much go back and buy Greece bonds. And that's a tricky situation because, again, let's go back to the disease aspect. The program as how the ECB buys bonds, and keep in mind, and this is for our audience, keep in mind that central banks are not only buying bonds. The SMB in Switzerland, the BOJ in Japan, including the ECB, they are buying equities. And this is not something new. This is always to keep in mind. So the bonds they're buying, they have specifications. And what Greece wants is just to play the smart game. Let me be in, so now everyone thinks I'm good, and if something goes wrong, you're infected. The disease now spread all over your system. So you won't let me go down because you will go down, and that's what it is. the consequences, I mean, so far it's isolated, but if they allow those bonds to be part of the QE of the European Central Bank, that could be a death sentence. And that's something to consider because the end will be catastrophic. There's no measure to that.
Now, finally, can we have a successful European Union which includes countries with lagging economies?
Guys, think about this. Gravity. Gravity is something invisible, but we know it exists. It's that thing that actually makes sure we don't fly like Superman. So the gravity, the negative gravity that Greece is in a way pulling, how it's pulling the growth, the anemic growth of the EU is really something that is affecting. I mean, you cannot go to places. Is every time if you have a penny, you have to send that penny back because someone is actually crying because it got in trouble. And this is the case. Greece is always in trouble. They're not getting out of it. So what is important is how they're going to get that money. What are the changes? What are the structural changes that they're going to fulfill this time? So there's no way possible that the European Union will be that flourish, group of members, partners, if you want to call it, if we always have to send money to someone that is not doing their part of the deal.
Well, thank you, Jose, for speaking with me today. It's been a pleasure. And thank you at home for clicking back. Goodbye for now.